Hello, how you doing? Hopefully this is working. I have a new internet service provider, so hopefully I won't cut out after an hour. Fingers crossed. Hope you're all alright. Look, summer's coming. It's still bright. I'm all washed out down this side of my face because the window's there. Well, we've got 3 viewers. Good evening to all 3 of you. So, we've not got a lot to report, really. I haven't done much on this. If I switch to the scene there, or actually if I just switch to the camcorder one, like that, you can see a bit more. So, if you were here last week, I got to, I can't remember now, we were doing all this anyway, and I think I got down to her elbow somewhere and my internet crapped out. So I carried on a bit. I did all that off stream. We have got that one there and this arm to do. She's actually got a tattoo there now, which I did last time I saw her, but it's not present in this photo, so we won't bother with it. She's also got an underboob one. But in the reference picture it's just a black blob, so I might leave it off. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm going to leave that one till last, and I'm going to ponder that because it looks a bit odd just being a black blob just down there. So we shall see. But today we're going to carry on with that and that down our arm. In the airbrush, I've already put some in there already. I have 3 drops of the illustration black by Createx with 6 drops of the illustration reducer, followed by a good helping of good old H2O. It says airbrush cleaner on the bottom, but it isn't. It's just water straight out the tap. Some of nature's finest. And I haven't filled my cup up all the way. I think you can kind of see that. So it's not right to the brim of the cup. And that gives me some nice slightly tinted water to paint with. So if we go back to the live scene, just like that. Then you get to see the chat and my ugly face and the painting all at the same time, and it's all good. Right then. So what we're going to start with, let's start with her arm, I reckon. So we'll zoom you in a bit, and there is a message. They always message me when I'm on stream. I'll just make sure it's not my daughter because she's out and about. That's Dennis. I don't know if you're in chat tonight, Dennis, but hi. Ian, good evening, mate. Hope you're doing okay on this fine Saturday evening. There we go. That'll do nicely. Right, just make sure it's not going to spit everywhere. We'll just squirt on a bit of tissue first. Yeah, that's flowing nicely. Right then. Oh, I found my stencils, by the way. I don't know if you remember, on stream a few weeks ago, I said I lost a whole bunch of my stencils. Like the ones I use all the chuffing time. I found them. For some reason, they're on the floor in my bedroom. I don't know why. This stencil right here, is the most useful stencil I have ever had in my entire life. So I'm really chuffed that I found that. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's move that because my fat head is casting a shadow. That's better. So what we got then? We got a clock, and we have some swirly clouds, and a few more swirly clouds, and we have a girl's face just there. Yeah, okay. And the clock has a clock in it. Those are the big hands. It looks good with a heart. Cool, I can see everything I need to do. Let's crack on then. You can see what I'm doing, yeah, good stuff. of spidering going on, but that's probably because I got my paint so reduced. That's only a tiny bit. That'll disappear as we paint. Good evening, Dennis. Yeah, I just got your message on stream. Can't wait to crack on with that guitar for you, mate. Dennis in chat wants a guitar painted up, so that's going to be fun. Get my right arm all beefed up again from all that sanding. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, me too, mate. Thank you for choosing me to do it for you. Well, paint seems to be flowing a bit better tonight. Last week it was like Morse code all over the paper. Airbrushing's weird like that. Sometimes the paint flows beautifully, other times it's just not going to cooperate. And the camera's focusing on my hand and not the page. That's useful. Let's move over here a bit. That might help. Or maybe turn autofocus off. How do I turn autofocus off on this archaic camera is the question. Like that, hopefully. Nope, that's still focusing on me. Stand by, as Wayne would say. Oh look, you can see my menu. I'm streaming my camera's menu. Look. Has it got focus mode? Initial set. No, it doesn't look like it does. Okay. Maybe record setup. Zoom, record. Face recognition is off. Guidelines, fade. God, how many options on one camera? Jeez. Nope. Don't know. And that's freaking out because I haven't got a memory card in it. Let's just leave it alone. I just won't need to do much sanding. I've done all my stuff. Ah, oh, Dennis, you're awesome. That's brilliant. That means I can just crack on with it, and that's superb. Thank you, mate. Crafter Cafe. Hi Svi, I watched all of your tutorials a few years ago. Nice to see you again. Cheers from Germany. Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I had a break for a while. I went away and learnt to tattoo. but yeah, I'm back. I hope all my early day tutorial videos were useful to you. When I used to say for every other word. I still do a bit, but when I look back at all those old videos and I'm there going I just shout at the screen, shut up you fool. Alright, is there much shading around that? Yeah, that is all shaded underneath it there, and that bit there is pretty much black. Okay. This tattoo I didn't do on her, so I don't know what this one is. Well, I know it's Alice in Wonderland, but you know what I mean. All the other stuff on the other arm and that I did, so I can kind of remember what I did, but this one wasn't done by me, so I shall have to look at the reference photo more on this one. Can't believe how bright it is still outside. It wasn't like that last week. Chuffing cold though. Crazy, innit? Last week, where I am, it was like pushing 20 degrees Celsius, centigrade, whatever you want to call it. And this week it's been about 1. We've had snow, hail, you name it. Why is my light flickering? What's that? £5 from Ian Campbell testing the super chat. Hee hee. Did you? Have you sent me another bit of money, mate? If you have, bless you. You don't have to do that, but it's much appreciated. Love you, man. I don't know if many of you saw my post on social media. Why is that flickering like crazy? That's driving me nuts. Yes, I don't know if you saw my post on social media, but I want to get my Twitch channel more busy, because YouTube it keeps letting me down. Like last week when my stream kept dying on me. On Twitch it was fine, but YouTube for some reason it kept kicking me out. So yeah, I want to try and promote Twitch a bit more, and I was wondering how I can get some more subscribers on Twitch. And I thought to myself, why don't I give away the paintings I do on stream? Because once they're done, I've got loads of them here. I just stick them in a folder and they just sit around here doing nothing. So I don't know. I'm a bit undecided on it at the moment. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. Obviously, it'll be open to the entire world. So with that in mind, I'd have to make sure that I can cover worldwide postage and any customs fees that I may incur in the process. So I don't know. Once I got maybe 50 Twitch subscribers or something, then once I finish a painting, I can do a live draw, and one of the subscribers wins the painting or something, or maybe a Patreon, and every time I finish a painting, I do a raffle of all my Patreons, and one of them wins it. I don't know. I was just trying to think of a way where I can give people something in return for, joining me on my live stream sort of thing. And hopefully make a little bit of money in the process. Don't know. New follower. Thank you, new follower. I won't read out that looks like your mobile number. I won't read that out on stream, but thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. I was going to paint this for you, but I don't have the talent to do what you're doing for me. I was going to do something simpler, but it's an honour for you to paint me a guitar. Oh, mate. You're going to make me blush. It's, yeah, that bike you painted, Dennis, was beautiful work. I was cyber stalking you earlier and looking at your pictures, and you've done some really lovely work, mate. Don't need to read it out, I'll call them now. It's a good point. It probably popped up on screen, didn't it? In fact, it is on screen now. Oh, can I turn that off temporarily so that it's probably too late now. But where is it? It's in here somewhere. Stream labels. Stand by. In the words of Wayne. Is it that one? No. I'll get there in a minute. It's that one. There we go. We'll hide that for now. Shh. Don't tell anyone. Good evening, John. Hope you're doing alright today, mate. Hope all is good in the world of Mr. Savage. There's a Patreon idea of a giveaway. A print does sound good. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking of giving away the actual original painting, the actual thing, rather than just a print. I'll probably, when it's done, I'll probably take a scan of it so that I can sell prints. But the actual original painting, I'll stick in a poster tube and send to someone. Patreon might be a better way to go about it, actually. I just worry because I've done Patreon in the past, and trying to come up with content constantly for it when you work for like 18 hours a day, it gets quite difficult, and I hated the fact that people would become my Patreon and not get any content. So this way, they're getting an original painting from me. So although I won't be uploading constant content, I'll be streaming every single Saturday, and then at the end of it, they're just paying their patronage to be entered into the draw to win the original painting. I don't know. It's just one of those ideas that popped into my funny little brain earlier. Do you have a Patreon account? I do have a Patreon account, but yeah, there's nothing on it. There used to be. I've tried doing like stock photography with all the models and the photo shoots I used to do. I also tried doing the old YouTube videos and giving my patrons early access to my tutorials and that lot. But like I say, making the content after doing a long day tattooing people, I was just exhausted every time, so I ended up falling behind with making the content. So I closed my, although I still have a Patreon account, I closed it down, sort of thing. So I can be people's patrons, but I haven't actually got any content on there for people to be my patron yet. The green Kawasaki is painted in Auto Air Highlight Green. My next one will be Highlight Red. That Highlight Green is one of my all-time favourite colours. I am a sucker for green. Had a fairly good bonding with my airbrush today. It's always good when you have a good day with your airbrush. Evening, Steve. How you doing, mate? Any good news for us? Well, as of Tuesday, I will be tattooing in a brand new tattoo studio in Eastleigh. It goes by the name of Olympus Ink. I've left the Hero Lounge, which is the old tattoo studio I was working at, and joined a new one. A young chap by the name of Liam was opening up a tattoo studio, and I couldn't survive any longer without earning anything, so I said goodbye to the Hero Lounge and joined Olympus Ink. So, and funny enough, it's right around the corner from where the Hero Lounge used to be, so I'm not going far. Change of scenery, but I'm only around the corner from the old shop, which is cool. So that's all my news. Haven't got any others, I don't think. Nothing else has really happened. Marshall, my husky, gave us a bit of a scare earlier in the week. We found a lump in his side, but it vanished again. We don't know what happened there. For a minute he had a lump in his side, and we were freaking out, and we were going to call the vet and all that lot, and my wife went to work, and when she came, by the time she came back, the lump had gone. So he scared the living daylights out of us, bless him. And that has basically been my week, other than drawing designs up for people that I've got in next week. That has been it for me. What you been up to? It's always nice when someone appreciates your hard work. Yeah, it definitely is, Dennis. And not everybody realises how much work goes into something like that, you know. Like the guitars, you know, some people wouldn't realise just how much prep and all that like actually goes into it. And tattoos, you know, of plenty of people don't realise that I can be sat there for an hour or two before they even get to the shop, just drawing up their design, you know. People, not everybody realises how much work is involved in something. And no fault of theirs, you know. They just don't know. They don't do it themselves, so they don't know what's involved, you know. Let's move the camera a bit so that it focuses more on what I'm painting rather than the back of my hand. Although I do have a really beautiful hand, I'm sure you don't want to watch that all stream. How are we doing for stream? Yep, no dropped frames or anything so far. Good stuff. I've switched. I was with Sky for my broadband, and as of Tuesday, I'm now with BT. So, hopefully, I won't have any problems. I did the old speed test, and that said it was still the same as what I was getting with Sky. I live out in the sticks a bit. Not too bad, but it's little country. New follower. Kenzo 70 GP was that? I can turn that back on again now. Kenzo 70 GP, yes. Thank you for following, my friend. Welcome to the stream. What was I saying? Yeah, I did a speed test, and I'm still getting the same speed as I was getting when I was with Sky, which out here is a 20 meg download and a 5 meg upload, because we don't have fibre to the house here. We have fibre to the box, as they call it. So the little green box on the pavement where my phone line comes in and then comes to my house, I've got fibre optic going to that box, but from that box to my house is still the old copper phone cable, so I can't get the super mega fast broadband yet, unfortunately. Back of the net. Yeah, indeed, mate. Yeah, so hopefully my broadband's all sorted out and it won't keep dropping out. I can go back to work on Tuesday and earn some money for the first time in 2 months. And everything's fine and dandy. Now I've said that, I'll probably jinx it and something will go horrifically wrong. But hey ho, it'll be alright because I'm going to win the lottery tonight. Okie dokie, so what shading we got going on in all this cloudiness in the top there? So that bit there has a bit of shading going that way. And then that bit has a bit going up there. Needs to be a bit more than that though. Just like that. That bit's got a bit going up there, but it fades out a bit more than that. Like so. That's all good there. That bit has some shading that comes up there like that. That bit is a bit darker. I'm about to build a bike I've had for 38 years. I rode it for 10 years, then strip it down and boxed it up. It's funny how you can do stuff like that, isn't it? Like the Big Trouble in Little China guitar that I've got hanging up there. I've had it for, crikey, 10 years? Must be something like that. And it was shipped to me straight from the Chapman Guitars factory. in bit form. It's never been built, so you know, the neck and the body and all that lot, they were just bits in a box. It was basically a build your own Chapman guitar kit, and I've never put it together. I painted the neck years and years ago with the old Pork Chop Express logo on the headstock, and it's been sat behind my monitor here for 10 years or so, and the body's just been kicking around. So yeah, I always meant to get it done, but never pulled the trigger on it, so to speak. It's funny how you can have stuff like that. You always intend to do it, but you just never get round to it. Although I will have to, I think. I always intended on doing that one on stream, but I'm worried that people might find it a bit boring because it's going to take many hours. Kind of like the tattoos on this one. They're taking a while, so apologies if you are getting bored with just watching me spray black. So yeah, because that one was going to take so long and be so detailed, I kind of shied away from doing it on stream, and I thought I would just do the regular YouTube videos on it. That way I can do a time lapse and speed up all the boring stuff. But I've just never got around to it. Life just gets in the way sometimes, doesn't it? Has that got any shading in it? Yes, it has. Good. That was sticking out like a sore thumb. That needed some shading in it. Kenneth, good evening. Darn, isn't he finished yet? No, I'm not. Slow, ain't I? I'm not as quick as I am in my YouTube videos. No theatre this week. Some rotter did a hit and run on my car at the QE hospital. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Steve. That sucks. Is there any major damage? Is it going to really hurt you getting it fixed? Is it going to break the bank? You right, KK?
Yeah.
Concentration phase. Yeah. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. It's always good when your daughter comes back from the shops and brings you chocolate. Hey.
Definitely help clean my hands out.
Oh, sweetheart, you're frozen. Yeah, if I hold on it, really. I just hold your hand for a while, make it burn. Let me guess. You know that picture I put up on social media with the speech bubble above Marshall saying that he was going to stop me midstream because he needs to go out? Guess what? So, I'll just put my airbrush down there for a minute. Try not to throw the paint on the floor. I will just let my dog out because we still have no garden fence thanks to the neighbours. I will be right back, guys. Won't be a second. And we're back. I knew you would do that. Wouldn't you? Yeah, now you're drinking loads, aren't you? Yeah, so you're going to need another wee soon. What have I missed? Anything? Mostly their paint over my wheel arch and a scuff. Oh, so that's alright. Well, it's not alright, but yeah, nothing major then. You haven't got to have any panel beating done, or they haven't written the car off because the repairs are too expensive then. A little so paint over my wheel arch and a scuff. So yeah, it's nothing that can't be fixed without a bit of sanding and a bit of paint by the sound of it then. Still going to cost on the old repair though, because even having little bits of paint damage repaired isn't cheap these days. They got any leads on who did it at all? Is there any CCTV of who did it or anything like that? Or have we just got to put through an insurance claim and take it up the backside, so to speak? So those of you who don't airbrush, to get the tight lines, I'm going in really tight, close to the paper with the airbrush to get that really focused spray. And then to do that there, I pulled the airbrush away from the paper a bit, and then that gave me a more softer edge, for those who don't know. Is there any shading around that card? Yes, there is. Okay. Now that clock, the hands are jet black, there's shading from the bottom, that is about it, okay. Still on camera, yep, good. No drop frames, no, we're doing good. Looks like my my new broadband is working alright. More house than it's worth. Would have to do private prosecution and my insurance goes up anyway, even though not in the car. Yeah, that sucks, mate. I'm sorry to hear that. At least it sounds like it's still drivable, so at least it wasn't a write-off, as I say. Things could always be worse. They could be a lot better, but they could always be worse. What's the best way to contact you about a tattoo? We're friends on Facebook, aren't we, mate? Just shoot me a message on there, or on Instagram if you got me on there. Just shoot me a message on social media, either one of them. I check all of them, so sometimes it may take me 2 or 3 days to reply, but that's just because of my my inbox can get a bit rammed sometimes. But yeah, just message me on whatever social media I've got you on. I think we're Facebook friends. Bit of spoidering on these dots, but it doesn't matter, it's only a tiny bit, so that will be hidden when I go back over it with a bit of flesh tone. It's nothing major. One of the benefits of using such watered down paint is it's really transparent, it's not very opaque at all, so you can hide little whoopsies like that. There's a company called Scratchman that do small paint jobs on cars. Yeah, I almost became a mobile scratch repair guy many years ago. At the time I was doing work for a company in Camberley, doing custom bike paint jobs. it didn't work out. I was spending all my time doing prep work and no airbrushing, so I left and nearly became one of those mobile guys. I was like looking into the setup and that lot, and you're like self-employed and you just drive around fixing people's whoopsies on their car. But I never did it in the end. Kind of glad I didn't, because I would have probably hated airbrushing if I did. Fixing people's scratches on their cars must be the most boring job on the planet. At least with the airbrushing, you're making artwork, you know. Or I'd fix someone's scratch and I'd do a portrait or something over it, you know. It wouldn't be a flat colour. I'll paint some artwork on it. It's like when people ask me, do I do the old tattooed eyebrows? I'm like, no, because my background in art, I'd probably make you look like a cartoon character. Surprising how technical doing the old tattoo eyebrows actually is. It's not a case of you just draw on an eyebrow and you go for it. You've got to look at like the people's shape of their face, and there's an awful lot. Going back to what we were saying earlier about, you know, if you don't know what's involved in something, then you can be quite naive to it. And yeah, the old tattooed eyebrows, there's definitely a lot more that goes into it rather than just draw on an eyebrow and tattoo it. Got a bit of a shadow under the old arms there. Use that, just make sure that's no one important. Here's your message, Dennis. I'll get back to that later. Aha! One friend request from John Savage. I will approve you after the stream, buddy. Dallas, watching from Australia, 4:50 AM. Blimey. Well, thanks for tuning in, mate. Thank you for spending your very, very early morning with me. Steve, what do you like doing dragons? Got a Japanese one and a Celtic one. Ooh. I don't get to do many dragons. I've done some. But everyone tends to come to me for the comic-y stuff. Not that I'm complaining in the slightest. I have done some dragons in the past, but the guy who owned the shop that I used to be at, he was a master at them. So if anybody came in wanting that sort of thing, then it makes sense for him to do them. Like I say, I can do them, but if there's a guy who's better at them, then they might as well do it. So he got to do all that sort of stuff. And I did all the colour, comic-y type stuff and the colour portraits. For some reason, I've just got a natural flair for colour tattoos. He was the black and grey guy, I was the colour guy. And that wasn't on purpose, that's just the way it worked out. Funny how it works out sometimes. What is that square on that bit there? Oh, it's just pretty much black on the reference photo. Okay. don't think I'll do it completely black because then that will hide that hand, so I'll leave it like that. Just sent a request on Facebook, only showed me following you. Yeah, I thought we were friends, but never mind. We soon will be, mate. I'll sort it out after the stream. He can be my friend. So that on there. Got a Tasmanian devil as well. Ah, the good old Tasmanian devil. Did you get that in the 90s by any chance? I've got some random stuff on me. The first tattoo I ever got was a skull on the back of my right shoulder, just here, with the Metallica star. You know the Metallica logo? They've got the Metallica M and they've just repeated it 4 times and rotated it round. He's got that on his forehead, and that's on the back of my shoulder there. That was my first one. Didn't get my first tattoo until I was about 21, 22. I was a late starter, me. And then that's all I had for ages. And then when I started tattooing... No, I'll tell a lie. Just before I started tattooing, the chap who gave me my apprenticeship... he did the poison ivy that's on my right forearm, and then I got into tattooing, and then I got all my other ones. But yeah, when I actually started tattooing, I only had the one on my shoulder and the poison ivy on my forearm. That was it. Nobody would believe I was a tattooist because I wasn't covered, you know. That old stigma of the you need to be covered in tattoos to be a tattooist. Although that's going now. I know plenty of tattooists who have only got 1 or 2. It's late 80s, early 90s. It's funny how you can tell when a tattoo was done by what it is. It's like tribal as well. It's like nobody gets tribal anymore. Although saying that, one of my clients is getting a load of tribal down his back. But you don't get to do much of it now. It's all Maori or that kind of thing. The old big blocky black tribal is a thing of the 90s now. Insanely boring to tattoo that as well, tribal. There's really no oh, hit the camera, sorry, give you all motion sickness. There's no excitement in tribal whatsoever. If you're not careful, you can doze off doing tribal. Not that I ever have, of course. I'm a professional, me. She's got a big old nose, this girl. Not Megan, the girl on the tattoo. Is that actually how it is? It is how it is. Wow, okay. Always go easy with the shading on a woman's face. You don't want to give her a beard, or the shadow under the nose. You don't want to make them look like Hitler. Top tip of the day. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I think most of the tattooed eyebrows look surprise cartoon characters. Sadly, they do. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule, but I've seen some eyebrows that, you know, you would never know they were tattoos. But or you get the lasses who do their own with makeup every day, and sometimes you're like, oh, blimey, you know. There was some lass in the news a little while ago who had like the world's biggest eyebrows, and they were tattooed on, but they took up like most of her forehead, and she'd done it deliberately. They must have been about 2-3 inches high, and they were just big black blocks, and they looked ridiculous. Oh, there's someone else wanting a tattoo. Superb. Is that Tory MP suspended over cocaine and sex allegations? Wow. So, what's that above her head? And has it got any shading on it? Yes, it has, and it's just a box. Okay. Any shading on her hair? Yeah. Looks like she's wearing sunglasses with that little gap in the shadow under her hair there, so we'll fill that in. There we go. Now she doesn't look like she's in Daft Punk or something. Is there much shading on her face? Only minimal. Like so. Although now it looks a bit weird with that bit in the corner, so we'll just shade that down a bit like that. Alrighty, so her top goes down that way, and that bit there is a free bit. Okay. I don't know why I got Fraggle Rock in my head. Where did that come from? Quality TV show. So a little bit of shading under the hair and a little bit under the chin. Like so. Not too worried about the details in her tattoos. You know, at the end of the day, it's just a bit rough. I don't want to take the attention away from her, so to speak. I don't want too much attention drawn to the tattoos. I want them to be there, but not the centre of attention, if you know what I mean. So I'm not going too nuts on the detail on these. And have I gone off camera yet? Nope, nearly though. So what's that behind her head just there? Is it just a shadow? Yeah, it's just a shadow. What time we got? 8:03. Cool. And I haven't dropped any frames yet, and nobody's messaged me to say where have you gone. So we're doing good. Good stuff. But yeah, I don't know what was going on last week, but YouTube would kick me off and it would say that it couldn't connect to the stream. But Twitch was completely fine. When I went on Twitch later, because I just assumed they were both having problems, but when I went on Twitch a bit later on, there was me sat there trying to get my stream working, and then phoning my son and asking him if he was spanking our internet with his Xbox and all sorts. So Twitch was fine. It was only YouTube that had the problem for some reason. I don't know why. Right, time to move the camera. Hold tight, everybody. Just like that. What is that she's holding? Because that is a funny old shape. It comes down there, then we've got light beams coming out of it there. There's like fingers going in it, yeah. Okay. And then that there. Oh, that's another playing card going behind whatever it is she's holding there. Okay. That's got a bit of shading in it there. Like so. This big bit here. Oh, knock over my kitchen roll. That. So that bit there is dark. And then it joins up with her arm. Okay. We are Sky and it's not good. Yeah, do you know what? I've been with Sky for like, crikey, 4 years-ish, and never really had a problem. But it was only when I started doing live streams that I noticed that I started to get issues. And, you know, I just shrugged it off because, you know, we've never been in a particularly good broadband area here. But the last couple of weeks have been particularly bad, and it just so happened that I was going to switch from them anyway because I noticed that we used to have broadband and phone and Sky TV. We used to have a whole package, and in January it was 53 quid, and in March it had gone up to 80, and then by July, because you can log onto your account and see your future bills, and by July it was going to go up to just over 100 quid. So I'm like, sod that, you know, they've doubled it in 6 months. So I was off, so I was going to change it anyway. And BT do quite a good deal, so I think I'm paying like 30 quid now for phone and internet, and we're just cancelling Sky TV and we're going to go to Freeview and save ourselves around 70 quid a month. So if you're on Sky and you've got their TV and broadband and all that lot deal, go log on to your account and check your bill, because they're upping it on the quiet. We had no idea that they were upping it. They were just doing it on the quiet, and when I checked the bank, lo and behold, it had gone from 50 quid to 80 quid. And who can afford that at the moment, eh? It's hard enough putting your heating on. We have BT and it's been very good experience. I seem to reset in the early hours. Yeah, the thing I loved about, because I was on BT before I switched to Sky, and the thing I always loved about BT is the parental controls. Sky don't have that, from what I saw, at all. With BT I could select like the kids' Xboxes and their phones and that lot, and set specific times when they can and can't access the internet and stuff like that, which was brilliant. But with Sky you didn't have any of that. If you didn't want the kids to access the internet, you had to turn off the entire router and nobody got it, you know. Bit of spidering, but as I mentioned before, it's really light, so we can hide that later. The joys of painting with slightly coloured water. Right, so she got much shading in her arm, not a lot. And the light source is coming from that direction on her arm. So there'll be a little shadow under her sleeve, like so. And then this side of her arm. And the underside, of course. Like that. This thing here, whatever that is, has a little bit of shading, but not a lot. Little ruffles. I've got to change this light before next stream. I don't know if it's picking it up, but it's really flickering. It's like I'm painting in a disco. That needs to be smoothed out a bit. That's better. Right, these light beams, how do they work? Just here. So, we got shadow there, and her fingers. Okay. And then that there has the shading going down that way. Okie dokie. Oh, finger lock. Ow. It's always good when your finger locks. Right, so we've got the light beams, we've got the fingers. That bit there has no shading in it whatsoever, it's just flesh tone, along with that bit that joins up with this rose here. Now the rose is just shaded with the light source coming from the top. So let's just crack on with that then. Get rid of my tip dry. Is it all on camera? Yeah, good. God, since taking up tattooing, I can't do a rose now without thinking it looks like just looks like a lettuce, cabbage, whatever you call it. I've always got those two confused, a cabbage and a lettuce. I don't know why. Those tattoos look nice. What colour paint are you using? Quite simply, mate, I am using Createx Illustration Black. I've got 3 drops of that in my paint cup, and then I've added the Createx Illustration Reducer. I've added 6 drops of that, so twice as much reducer to the paint, and then I've just topped it up with a bit of water. So it's just very watered down black, basically, and because I've got it so watered down, I'm able to do these really soft grey tones. On the downside of that, though, if you wanted a solid black bit, you would have to go over it a few times. Like that line I just did there. See, that's quite transparent, so I've got to go over that again. But that's just the way I like to work. Thanks, Dallas. You have sweet dreams, buddy. Thanks for popping in. Nice. It has that greenish greyish tint the real tattoos get on a page. Yes, it does. Yeah. If I zoom out a sec, I will be going over them with a bit of the original flesh tone, which is, get it on camera, the Createx Tim Gore's Bloodline Fair Blush. That was the original base flesh tone that was just here. So I'm going to dust over them a bit with some of that again, just to knock back the highlighted areas. But yeah, when you really water down the black, it does have the look of an aged tattoo, which is quite handy because that's exactly what we're after. Now for the bit in the middle that, if you're not careful, can end up looking like female genitalia, which is never a good thing. Tattoo of a lettuce with female genitalia in the middle of it. Cheers, Dennis. So what I'm painting on here, mate, is just a bit of paper, basically. It's just regular Bristol board, nothing exciting. I will be probably putting some varnish on it when it's done. I don't know if I've got the pad. No, I haven't got the pad here, but it's basically it was a pad of A3 airbrush Bristol board that I was given a few years ago at an airbrush show. I'm just using a sheet of that, and then I'll use some varnish that you use on paintings, probably, as long as it's flexible. I don't know, because this is really quite bendy. It's not very rigid at all, so some varnishes are quite rigid and they don't flex very well, so I'm not sure. Right, so light source is from the top. And that dribble is just solid white. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. I have a lot of where I dabbled in photography. I have an awful lot of photo references of lasses in scantily clad or not wearing very much at all. And although it makes a great painting, it doesn't make a good live stream. Let's put it that way. You get banned from YouTube in no time. I'm actually not sure on their stance on nudity in a painting. I know you're not allowed to put any form of nudity on otherwise, photography or anything like that. So I'm guessing, if she was topless or whatever, YouTube would frown upon that. But then, I don't know, I kind of despaired with the whole photography a bit, because it seemed to be that unless there was boobs in the painting, nobody was interested in it. And although boobs are brilliant, there's a time and a place, let's put it that way. Do you post any tattooing videos or work? Not on YouTube, mate, no. I do on my Instagram, and I'm on TikTok. I think I'm called SviArt on TikTok, I think. And I've just started a separate Instagram for my tattooing. So all my airbrush stuff on Instagram is like on the screen there, Svi Wheeler. But all my tattoo work is under, what have I called myself? Al Wheeler Tattooist. Yeah, all one word. Because my actual name is Alan, so Al Wheeler. Svi was just a nickname at school that stuck. And I thought it was much more interesting than Alan, so I used it. Alan Art just doesn't have the same kind of ring, Although the amount of people who call me Steve is unbelievable. So I'm not being too worried about doing a beautiful job of this rose. Just like I mentioned before, just getting the suggestion of the rose there. Not too worried about being really careful with the shading, as long as it's not a complete cock up, and it's all good. One rose. So YouTube's very liberal when it comes to nudity, as long as it's artistic or educational. That's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure their stance on it. I have some playlists saved with full frontal nudity of women being painted with no complaints. That's good then. That's alright then. I've never actually tried to do any YouTube stuff with nudity in it, so I wasn't totally sure on their stance on it. I know that every time we upload a video or whatever, you have to mark it if it's for kids or not, and all that malarkey, so. Suppose I could always put a post-it note over the boobs if I was doing a topless painting. There's that leaf, and there is no shadowing on the bottom of the leaf at all, so that is that. That one's a little bit darker on that bit there. Like so. Cool beans. Right, now this dove on her chest. Is it a dove? I'm not sure. The bird on her chest. It's not a dove, is it? It's a swallow. Idiot. This is where if the airbrush spits, it's going to be really noticeable, so I've got to be careful here. Although it is quite dark, so that helps if I do have any whoopsies. Zoom in a bit as well so it stops focusing on my hand and focuses on what I'm doing instead. There we go. I've even seen a few of women getting medically examined that look like it borders on porn. Clearly educational, they gave it a pass. That's cool. I suppose as long as you mark it, as long as you mark the video not for kids, then I suppose they would be alright with it, wouldn't they, I guess? Because then they know and they can restrict access to it to anyone with a younger account. I hate that. When you're spraying a line and you suddenly see the flow of paint lessen and then it starts to spit a bit and you're like, I've got a bit of tip dry, but I know as soon as I let go of the trigger it's just going to go all over the page. You're like scared to let go of the trigger, but you have to because the tip dry is about to fly off the needle and make a splat as well. Right, so those bits are just a bit of shading that goes downwards. So more black up top and then fading out going down. Can you share some of your art background with us? Self-taught, went to art school, apprenticeships, etc. I was self-taught myself. Yeah, I'm self-taught as well, mate. I was the quiet kid at school who always sat at the back of the class, never spoke to anybody, and just sat there doodling all the time. And then I actually dropped art at school and did music instead. Learned to play the guitar. Wish I stuck with art though, although when I was doing art it was all fruit bowls and stuff like that and still life, but you know, it was like not models or anything. It would be like, draw this brick, or here's a cup of coffee, draw that, you know. It was really boring stuff. So I dropped out of art at school, took music instead, and kind of gave up on the drawing completely for a good few years. In my teens, and then it was kind of in my early 20s that I kind of got back into it, started drawing again, and I started to play around with painting leather jackets, and one of my mates wanted the Aerosmith album Just Push Play. It's got a Soriyama robot on the front in a yellow dress doing the old Marilyn Monroe pose where she's like bent forward a little bit and the air's blowing her skirt up. It was that sort of pose. But it was a Soriyama robot, and he wanted that on his leather jacket. So I said I would paint it, and I was only using paint brushes at the time. And I was getting frustrated that I couldn't get a really nice smooth blend on the yellow dress of hers. And my dad turned around and said, you need an airbrush for that, that would do it. He goes, I've got an old one kicking around in a cupboard that you're welcome to play with if you want. So I got that, bought a can of air, and it was a crappy old single action thing, you know, where the trigger, when you just push the trigger down and it's that is paint and air. There's none of the pulling the trigger back or anything like that. But I fell in love. I absolutely loved the airbrush right from the second I could use it. So I did a few more jackets for people and got paid for them. Saved up enough money to buy a cheap double action airbrush, and it just took off from there. But as far as art education goes, I'm completely self-taught. I know nothing. Which is probably why I like working from a photo reference so much. Similar story here. Quiet kid who liked to draw, was always bored by the art classes and never pursued it seriously. Yeah, it's funny how that goes, isn't it? There was just always nothing exciting. I used to sit in my art class with my sketchbook. I always had my sketchbook with me everywhere I went, and I would sit there and draw different stuff. You know, I love fantasy art. I've always got firm roots in fantasy art and stuff, and drawing something that couldn't have been there in real life, sort of thing. And yeah, I used to sit there. I would actually go to art class early and just sit there doodling. And then one day the teacher had a couple of kids around me watching what I was doing, and she came over and she looked over my shoulder and she just goes, "You didn't draw that," and walked off. And I was like, nice, okay. And after that I dropped out of art as soon as I could, and just spent the next like 5 or 6 years not doing any. And then, like I say, on a bored day one day I got into painting leather jackets, and then it all took off again. I got right back into it and haven't looked back since. Is your name Svi? Do you have a Scandinavian background? My name is Alan, and I'm Hampshire born and bred, mate. Svi came from school in German. For some reason at school I had a knack for German, and my surname is Wheeler, and some lads took the piss and started calling me Svila in a dodgy German accent. And then it got shortened to Svi, and then that stuck, and for the whole of school I was just known as Svi, and I thought it was a bit more interesting than Alan, basically. Some of the best artists in history are always self-taught. You can pick up tips and tricks in schooling, but it's not something you can teach, really. No, you've either got a flair for it or you haven't, I think. You can always teach the fundamentals of art. You can tell someone, this is a ball, this is how you draw it, this is how you shade it. But actually being able to take that knowledge and make it your own, and that sort of thing, is something not everybody has the ability to. Even I don't sometimes. The amount of times I've done a painting, step back from it, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And it's just gone in the bin. Right, so that's our little guy there all done. So let's zoom you out. Zoom. So that is our tattoos. Like I say, last time I saw her I did another tattoo here, but it's not present in this photo, so we won't bother putting it in. She's got an underboob one down here, but in the reference photo it just looks like a black blob, so I might leave that off. Because it doesn't really look like a tattoo, it just looks like a big black circle on her rib cage, so I think I'll leave that off. So now we've got to get the old flesh tone out. What time is it? 9:15. So we're actually done with the black. Hooray! So we'll get rid of that in Mr. Spray Pot. Clean out the old airbrush quick. That's cool, that'll do. Right, so her initial flesh tone was that one. So the Createx Tim Gore's Bloodline Lifeline Fair Blush. So we'll get a bit of that in the airbrush. Again, I'll water it down a fair bit because we don't want it to be too opaque. We just want to knock down the black on the highlighted areas a bit. Not a lot, just a bit. What's that? I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. My grandfather was an Alan. Nice to see it didn't bother you, and you kept it. Yeah, it. Yeah, they weren't really taking the piss that much. They just being kids, and then it stuck, and I thought it was kind of different. I don't know anybody else who's called Svi, so. But yeah, I do. I'm either called Steve, or they think I'm Swedish or something, and it's quite funny. One of my wife's co-workers calls me Steve every time I see her. I haven't got the heart to tell her that she's got it completely wrong. You know, when people call you something for so long and you've reached a point where you can't put them right because you're going to look like an idiot. So to her, I'm Steve. I don't mind. Right, I'm not going too reduced on this, so I've got 5 drops of the paint, that flesh tone, in my cup. I'm not going to double up on the reducer, I'm going to use the same, so 5 drops of the reducer. And I'm not going to bother with any water, so just 5 drops of paint, 5 drops of reducer. Give it a little shake. Get it all over my thumb. Okay, so she's got a highlight on her chest here. So this bit straight up the middle there should be a little bit lighter. I'm not sure if the camera's gonna pick this up because it is very, very subtle. You can kind of see it. You see it's got a slightly lighter hue just in the middle there. That's all I'm after. I was asking if you speak German. Do you know, I was alright with it at school. Now I don't remember a single thing. The only thing I remember is Gabelwagen, I think, which I think is forklift. Random German word of the day for you. That's all I remember. I don't know why forklift stuck in my head, but it did. Right, so highlight down there. So we'll just do a bit down there. Let's zoom in, see if you can see what I'm doing as I do it. Let's move you across and up a bit. Like that. So yeah, highlight going down the centre there. Yeah, there you go, that came out on camera so you can see what I'm doing. So you still get the illusion of it being a round surface because it's still dark down here, but then you've got the lighter colour there. It just knocks the black back a bit so it's not so in your face. Stops it looking so cartoony, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that's cool. Does your birdie have a sore ass as it has no legs and feet or wheels? I bet there aren't any on the picture, mate. No, her tattoo doesn't have any. I didn't do that one either. I'll just point that out. That tattoo and that one, I didn't do those. I did all that one. and her underboob one, and the one that is now there, and the one that's on her bum cheek. But that one and that one, they weren't me. Just noticed a little bit of blue overspray on her collarbone there, so just put some of that paint over there to knock that back a bit. It's like a jet, they retract under flying. Yeah, they tuck up into their undercarriage. Now there was a bit that was annoying me the other day when I was looking at this. What was it? Oh yeah, her nose. Anybody who was watching the stream when I was painting her hair, I was mentioning about overspray darkening up flesh bits, and look at the tip of her nose. Tip of her nose has gone dark. So while I've got this paint in here, I'll just knock that back a bit. Not a lot, just a bit. Still keep the shadow underneath. It's gone really blue at the moment, but I will also go back in with some of the shading tone as well. So that was the Createx Tim Gore Bloodline Natural Lip. So all these shadows and stuff were done with that one. So I'll go in with some of that as well, just to knock that blue out of it, because we don't want her to have a blue nose. So that'll do for that, and then yeah, we'll put some of that natural lip over the edge there. So any more of this one needed anywhere? Hubwagon or... Ah, right, okay. So all these years I thought Gabelwagen was the forklift. I was wrong on that as well. Germans have multiple words for everything. Yeah, it's like I had a friend who was learning, I think it was Cantonese, I believe, and he was saying that it was a very difficult language because just the same, they have one word can have multiple meanings. So we've done the highlight there. That, has she got a highlight around that edge? No, she doesn't really. That's all good. That there. That's quite bright up here, so I'm just going to put a bit more in her hand while I've got it in the airbrush. If it will spray. That's better. Just like that. That's cool. It's good. And her nose, just behind that nose stud, her nose is quite bright. She's got a bright nostril. that lip. No, that stays quite dark there. There's a little highlight just under the lip, just there. What's the major difference between a bloodline and the Wicked and Other paints? I was thinking of trying them. As far as I know, the bloodline is just like Tim Gore's signature paints. They're just the ones that he came up with. He just called them Bloodline, I believe. So any of the Bloodline ones are all done by Tim Gore. A little bit brighter there. Oh yeah, there was a highlight on just under her bottom lip, wasn't there? That's what we were doing. Not a major one, just a little one like that, which probably didn't show up on camera, but yeah. So that's that. Chin isn't too bright. That's all dark under there. Ear is in shadow, so that stays like that. That is as bright as it should be. Okay, I think that's all we need for this one. So we can clean out the airbrush again. Yes. So what we got next? It might be the blood next, you know? We might be at that stage. What time we got? 2 minutes to 9. Yeah. Well, there we go then. We can save that for next stream. So, next stream, you don't have to sit there watching me outline tattoos for the whole 2 hours anymore. We've done it now. Next, we get to the good stuff. The all like the finer details. So, like the blood that I'm going to put all over her hands. I don't know how much blood I'm going to put on her hands. I don't want too much so it covers her forearms or anything, but I do want some on there. Maybe just her fingers and a bit on there. I'm not sure about the whole idea of her crying blood. I might just do mascara. I'm not sure. I'll ponder it. I will have a think. I'll actually try and remember to actually clean my airbrush out before the next stream, because so far it gets to like 6:30 on a Saturday and I'm firing up the computer and getting ready to go, and then I look at my airbrush and the paint cup's got dried paint in it. Cool, that's got all that flesh tone out of there anyway, so that's all good. Pop that down there before I bend my needle. So I'm a pro at that. Okay, so if I switch camera, because you can't see the whole thing on there, so if I go to that one. Hi. Can you see that alright? Yeah, there we go. So that's how far we've got. We've got quite a bit done. It's all looking good, and you can see the that flesh tone going over the black there. It just really knocks it back. You get, it really gives it that 3D look rather than it just being a flat black, which of course it wouldn't be in real life. I mean, come here. Look at the reference photo that I'm using. You see the black isn't solid on the highlights. It's highlighted as well. So, so that worked nicely. Cool. So yeah, like I say, next time we'll start doing the blood and stuff. And I'm thinking an olive green background, like a grungy olive green background for it. So we'll have a play with that. So for now. You all take care. Just make sure I haven't missed any questions in chat. By the way, who is this? Just a random model reference. This is a friend of mine called Megan. If you look her up on Instagram, she's called Vixen _ Blackheart, I believe. Let's make sure. This is where my phone goes nuts with loads of notifications. Search. Yeah, Vixen _ Blackheart is her name on Instagram. She's a model mate of mine. I've known her for a few years, been tattooing her for a while. Tried Wig as well as Candy 2.0, but never Bloodline. I've never tried the Candy 2.0. I really must give it a look. Anyway, I shall stop waffling. You all take care. Thanks for tuning in and that. Thanks for chatting on chat, keeping me company. I hope that you've learned something from watching me try not to cock up. And I will be back again 7 PM next Saturday. So I hope to see you there. And Dennis, I'll chat to you later, buddy. Take care, you guys. See you later. And one of these is the end of my stream thing. Where is it? There it is. Cheers, John. See you later. Bye, guys.